When I really think about it, I don't think I've ever just sat down and made a video talking about Blackbeard or dedicating a video for him. So we're gonna do that today, right? Recently in the story, Blackbeard has had the community at least talking about him. He had a recent chapter in 1059 where he was involved, got a new bounty increase, I believe it's 3.9 billion. So Blackbeard's making some moves where when you look at him from the One Piece community, at least, well, I like him, right? Blackbeard, I think he's a great villain, I think he's cool, but the community definitely has a lot of mixed feelings about him, where there's some people who like him, some people who don't. People, they call him a snake, they call him an op, they call him a coward, they call him somebody who runs away. So I'm gonna just give you guys my thoughts about Blackbeard and how I feel about him and why I think the community hates on him a little bit too much. But if you guys enjoy videos like these, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never saw a new one. With that away, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's see why I consider Blackbeard a very overhated character. When it comes to villains, I think there are some people that love them and some people that hate them. I think if you don't like a villain, that narratively the author did a really good job in writing them and making them a villain, because, right, the villain is not supposed to be liked. I think a protagonist, well, I don't think, technically a protagonist, if you're looking at it from the literary definition, a protagonist can be good or bad, so it can be a hero or a villain. For example, let's look at Death Note. There's Light Yagami, who kills people by writing their name in a Death Note, and he's a villain. And L. Lafayette, I believe that's his last name. Don't quote me, I might be wrong. I haven't watched Death Note in a minute, but L, he's a detective who is sent to go after Light in order to stop him from killing people. So that proves that a protagonist can definitely be a villain. But for the sake of One Piece, since Luffy is technically a good guy, I mean, he's a pirate, but the way he liberates countries and save people just for food or something like that, we're gonna call him a good guy. So Blackbeard is definitely in the bad guy in this situation, where a lot of people tend to dislike the villains because of all the tragedy and different things that they do to hinder the main character or the people that they care about. When we look at villains in One Piece, I think the best is hands down Doflamingo. I think Crocodile's number 2, and then I think Akainu for what he did at Marineford and his ideals with justice, killing Ace, going against Whitebeard, and Blackbeard for what we've seen so far. I think they have the potential to either be number 1 or definitely be in the top 3. Now, for me personally, when it comes to villains, I don't hate them. More likely than not, I actually really do enjoy villains, not just in anime, but in fiction in general, right? Some of my favorite anime villains include Astolat, Madara, Miriam, and Aizen. He's my favorite. I said I was going to do a video on him and why I believe he's the best and why he's my favorite. I still got to do that, right? I have so many videos planned for this channel. But nowadays, I feel like a lot of authors have switched from making hardcore villains to more tragic heroes, and that's not a bad thing. I just feel like that's something that we've experienced a lot. Like, for example, if you guys are caught up with the My Hero anime, and even in the manga, I believe Shigaraki is probably a tragic villain. I think that Pain's one as well. And somebody who's not necessarily a villain, not a hero, I think it depends on the eye of the beholder, but we're going to use Eren as an example, because a lot of people have recently, especially in season 4, have called him a villain. But when you look at him, he's definitely a tragic hero, because if you look at the definition of justified, it said having done for or marked by good or legitimate reasons. So Eren, in my opinion, what he did with the rumbling is legit, and he has every reason to do so. Not saying it's morally right, because genocide is never morally right. However, he is justified doing so because the people of Marley, they sent Titans after him. They killed his friends, killed his family, right? Rendered his home basically, living as livestock, living in a confined area instead of truly being free. So I think he had every right to unleash the rumbling and go after the people that killed him. However, like I said, it's not morally right. A quote from, I believe it's The Dark Knight. It talks about Heath Ledger's Joker, who Heath Ledger definitely is the best Joker, hands down. But Alfred, he said that because this is the first time Joker has been introduced in this series, and he's like, yo, there's some men out there who don't have a reason to do the things that they do. They just want to watch the world burn. And that might be Blackbeard, right? He's kind of crazy. We don't know his backstory, what happened with his parents, all of that. But Blackbeard could definitely be the villain who could watch the world burn. Now, they did show a little bit of, Blackbeard not sleeping, and I believe it was at the end of film Z where they showed like younger versions of the supernova, I believe the warlords and stuff, and how Blackbeard, he was crying. Maybe it was because he couldn't sleep, I don't know. But the reason why Blackbeard is such a hated character is for two reasons. Number one is because he runs away a lot, and number two, because he messes with or is involved with some of our favorite characters. Those include Ace, Luffy, Whitebeard, and Boa Hancock. And I'm going to include Kainu in here, not for like his favorite, but in the fact that he ran away, because he did run away with him, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the video. But let's go in order. So we're going to talk about Ace first and how he was involved with Blackbeard. Blackbeard ended up killing Thatch for the Yami Yami no Mi, where Ace, as his superior officer or his commander, he ended up feeling responsible and ended up chasing after him, where Blackbeard originally was going to go after Luffy and turn him in to become a warlord. However, Ace, being Luffy's brother, stood in and he fought against Blackbeard, where Blackbeard won in the end. And to put this in perspective, Blackbeard was really strong for doing this because he didn't showcase him using Haki, and he didn't have the Goro no Mi. So him going against Ace, who was considered to be a prodigy, and also was inclined to be a warlord until he declined. That just shows how strong Blackbeard was at that time. But this allowed him to get the title of a warlord, where he had access to Impel Down, where he became and had a stronger crew. He gained Shiryu. I believe he already had like Lafayette, Vinegar. So he got Shiryu, he got Katarina Devon, and other members of level 6 of Impel Down. And this caused Ace to be in prison, which sparked the whole Marineford War. There's also this interaction with Luffy, where at Jaya they disagree with the taste of the pie, which is why they almost fought. He talked about Luffy and Zoro winning that fight. He talks about how dreams never die. And then he was also the reason why Zoro and Luffy were a little bit on edge, talking about, it's more than just him, right? Where the community speculates, are they talking about him having more than one person in his body or his crew? Personally, I think it was his crew, but, the fact that he has two devil fruits and he was going after Boa Hancock means he might even be able to access a third one. It just, we never know, right? But then there's the interaction when Luffy found out that Blackbeard was the reason why Ace got in prison and was being executed. They fought an Impel Down, where he ended up they both got a blow in here and there, but to be fair, Blackbeard was definitely beating Luffy in that instance. There's also this scene in Dressrosa where they were going after Ace's fruit, and then in the end these birds tried to go after Luffy's fruit, where we have the Sun God versus the Dark Nature, the Sunlight versus Dark. I think that's going to be pretty cool. Can't wait to see that animated, and in the manga as well, where Blackbeard, his devil fruit, it can negate power. However, it's not going to negate the whole thing. I mean, look at Ace. Like, Ace fought against Blackbeard using his devil fruit as well. And then Whitebeard, when they fought, he could use his devil fruit in different situations. So it's not going to completely negate it. There are going to be moments where Luffy gets to take advantage of it. But this is also why Luffy is learning to use advanced versus Haki. He can do all of them, where he'll be able to go against Blackbeard, who's pretty broken having two devil fruits. There's also Whitebeard, who treated Blackbeard as his own son, where he ended up betraying him and fighting against Whitebeard. We're at Marineford. He ended up being a little bit cowardly when Whitebeard had the upper hand. He was like, yo, are you really going to do this to your son? Where he had his crew ended up going in, jumping him, killing Whitebeard, and he took his devil fruit power. There's also the scene with Akainu where he ended up having Drooly Boney locked up or chained up, and then Akainu ended up coming, where they ended up running away again. Something that happened really recently includes Boa Hancock, where he went to the Pirate Emperor's Island of Amazon Lily, seeking to go after Boa Hancock's devil fruit, where we find out that he was involved with the Rocky Port incident along with Law and Kobe, where he had Boa Hancock in a chokehold and was talking about killing her, and all of that. Where I think a lot of people are really upset because, well, they're Boa Hancock simps, right? She's beautiful, right? She got big rats, she got some big breasts, and so people are really upset that he treated her like that. And then Rayleigh ended up pulling up where Blackbeard, then again, he left and ran away. With all of these, it involves Blackbeard somehow finding a way to escape or running away. And I wanted people to realize Blackbeard is what is called a pirate. He's an opportunist, and he does stuff that is only favorable to him. Right? I'm gonna give you guys an example, right? Would you fight a Mike Tyson in his prime for $100 million? Or would you fight a Mike Tyson that's 200 years old who can barely move for $200? right? Or $200 million or whatever, right? The prize pool, right? You're going to take that 200-year-old Mike Tyson, right? Because Mike Tyson is knocking every last one of us out if he's in his prime, which is what Blackbeard does. He does stuff in order to benefit himself, right? It may not be the most thing with honor, but like in the Luffy versus Katakuri fight, when Katakuri stabbed himself and he apologized, Luffy's like, what are you talking about, right? In a fight against pirates, there is no such thing as honor, right? It's nothing that we need to be concerned about. And so Blackbeard, the whole thing with pirates, they do what they want when they want. They steal, they fight, they kill, do whatever. And so Blackbeard being smart and calculated is just him being a pirate. People are getting mad at that for not having honor when you don't necessarily need that, right? Unlike the red hair pirates, the Roger pirates, to an extent, the Whitebeard pirates, and the Straw Hats, right? Not all pirates are going to have honor, and not all pirates are going to try to help people. In the end, I like Blackbeard. I think he gets a lot of hate for being a smart pirate, right? He's strong, he's cool, right? Can't wait to see him versus Luffy and the Straw Hats versus the Blackbeard pirates for the fight for the One Piece. But let me know, do you guys like Blackbeard or dislike him in the comment section below? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, the notification bell so you guys never miss a new video from me. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.